we're gonna go over hip hinge progressions. And hip hinge is really just a fancy way of saying your deadlift, because the majority of you will come in here and have already played around with some deadlifting variations. The problem then becomes if the movement pattern itself is flawed, meaning like the setup and bracing elements are not concrete, then getting over top of a barbell or into a trap bar could pose itself problematic over time, especially as a leaper. We start developing, especially like one side compensatory movements or compensations, where if you are a 2-foot jumper and let's say you jump right left plant, then that right side is likely going to be a little bit stronger over time. And what happens is as you deadlift, you then get into these kind of rotations through the movement. You'll see like hip shifting and all these like lower back instabilities. So one of the principles that I really stand by is just do the basics very well and slowing down in order to speed up. So this could be your greatest tool you ever purchase, buy, or make is a dowel or a stick. And I'm gonna show you how to utilize it to better your hip hinge pattern. So there are a few different ways we apply this. First and foremost is going to be a setup on the back. So what you're gonna do is take your dowel and you're going to drop it onto your back. And I'll turn so you can see it. What we want, probably can't hear me very well. What we want is contact on your head, shoulders, and tailbone. Our feet are then going to be set up in a nice, powerful position underneath our hips or slightly narrower than that. At that point then, we get into the concepts of breathing and bracing. And I'm posted some other content here on creating a brace. So I recommend that you watch the bracing video before you watch the hip and hinge mechanics video. So once we have this set up in those 3 points of contact, you'll notice that my chin stays nice and level, that I'm not cranking back. And this is where you're gonna find out pretty quickly whether you have some imbalances in musculature that cause it to be difficult for you to be able to reach those 3 points of contact. But this gives us that biomechanical feedback and that tactile feedback during a movement to see whether we are performing it efficiently or not. So in these 3 points of contact, nice sturdy position here. We're gonna take a big breath into our belly. We're gonna exhale until we have a nice tight midsection. Then we're gonna take a little short breath. And what we're gonna do here is release the hips back toward the end, toward the wall behind me. And as we release back, we're watching for, are those 3 points of contact remaining or are they lifting? You'll notice the dowel feels or looks something like this if we're missing contact. So we lost our tailbone. We could also lose our head, or we could go the other way. And then we lose our shoulders. So all 3 of these points work in unison. What's up, Dave? Work in unison to create and control an efficient hinge pattern. I recommend spending some time patterning with a piece of dowel or PVC over and over and over again until you can perform that exact same movement, nice and braced, without the aid of the dowel. But it's always nice to revisit. You might think you know this movement. I promise you, you don't know it as quite as well as you think. Another way we can do this, so that's a posterior cueing, is anterior on our face. So we can actually make 3 points of contact here. So we can go our chin, we can go our chest, and we can go our pubic bone. You're probably good, Dave. He's on the phone with Colin McCausland. Yeah. So we're gonna go here, and then we can do the same thing. Nice, relax here. We can pivot back, drive, 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 and back up. So it's just another method or means of that tactile feedback and cueing. The last one will be, so we've got bipedal or 2-foot contact. We can also get into a single leg deadlift, or commonly referred to as a single leg RDL. The way I like to use this dowel is on the toe and on the hand. We can then plant the other foot, and this is what helps to fix that common issue with a single leg RDL of having the athlete actually release the leg back toward the wall. So we provide just a little bit of feedback here, relax that knee. We then allow ourselves to hinge and come back up. So this will give us, again, that little bit of tactile feedback so that we don't run into this issue. As soon as I release this leg, you'll see what happens. I then gain a little bit of thoracic or mid-back extension. It helps to set and neutralize my pelvis and hips as well. So just some kind of cool little tips and tricks you can do with a stick or a piece of wood or a dowel. Give it a try. Let me know what you think.